Hi, today I'm going to be discussing the criminal justice system and how certain individuals and groups are not treated fairly or equally within the justice system. The groups I'm going to be looking at are the lower socioeconomic class, Indigenous Australians, and different ethnic groups. The justice system was created to show the natural consensual relationship between society and the state, and the law was written to show what behaviours society deems as criminal or wrong behaviours. In an idealistic world, every single individual would be seen as an equal under the eyes of the law and therefore would be treated equally within the law whenever they enter the justice system. However, it's society's demands and pressures in the realistic world that do not allow every single individual to be treated as an equal within the justice system. The lower socioeconomic class, for example, simply cannot afford to exercise their right to legal representation, which is their legal given right being an Australian citizen. However, when 3.24 million Australians are living below the poverty line, so living under $423.60 per week, if they were to enter the justice system to resolve a legal issue, they simply could not afford legal representation, as the cost for legal representation ranges from $100 to $700 per hour, and then taking it further, entering courts gets even more cost, going into thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. With the cost of living, the cost of education, employment, everything constantly increasing, and the social demand to have to be self-sufficient and financially well off, these people living in poverty, living in the lower socioeconomic class, they simply cannot catch up, cannot maintain that standard, and therefore are disadvantaged within the justice system. Stuart Clark, Law Council of Australia representative, has said that every year 1 in 4 Australians has a problem serious enough to require a lawyer, and the unfortunate fact is that not all of those will be able to afford one. So by saying that, we can already see there are individuals who are going to be disadvantaged and not treated the same as others within the justice system. And that's just one of the reasons how equality within the justice system will never be achieved. Indigenous Australians have always been overrepresented within the justice system. Overrepresented with arrest, in the remand, and with incarceration a lot, as 29% of all prisoners within Australia are Indigenous Australians. The drug and alcohol abuse, high unemployment rates, the below par education the Indigenous are receiving, and the high amounts of uneducated Indigenous Australians is a big major factor which leads them not only to enter the justice system due to their criminal outbursts, but not being educated, not having enough money, having substance abuse doesn't allow them to be treated equally, as their situation, society deems them as an outlier, and therefore, they don't care about committing the criminal behavior, therefore they're not going to care about trying to resolve the issue. However, this is not true. Indigenous Australians do want to try and resolve their criminal issues, but all of that is not just the major thing. Another thing with the Indigenous Australians is their cultural views and traditions. There are certain things that Indigenous Australians do that Anglo-Saxons do not do. It's simply not in their culture. Therefore, the Koori Court was created to assist the Indigenous Australians, for them to allow to resolve their issues with a court that follows their traditions and allows them to do it in a fair manner. However, not every Indigenous Australian's case will enter the Koori Court, so therefore they're still disadvantaged. Different ethnic groups and cultural groups are disadvantaged in the fact of their different views and values of society coming from another country, and language barrier, which is the main factor for these ethnic groups. In Australia, there are over 300 different ethnic groups, which means there's almost 300 different languages being spoken in Australia. Legal jargon is already a difficult, complex vocabulary to understand for a native English-speaking person. if English is now your second language and you're attempting to learn English and then have to enter the courts and the justice system and now understand legal jargon, you are automatically disadvantaged because it's just too much to process. Also, in different languages, there are certain English words which cannot be translated and certain words in their own language which cannot be translated to English. Therefore, there is no way they would ever be treated as an equal if there is certain vocabulary that cannot be translated for them to understand. Although translators are available, it doesn't allow, it's still not enough to be sufficient equal treatment for these individuals. Therefore, the justice system, while written to treat everyone equally, it simply cannot happen due to language barriers, cultural differences, different upbringings, different situations, and different financial status. Thank you.